All right, today I'm gonna show you guys how to make my updated version of butternut squash soup that is packed with veggies, but your kids will never know. So if you wanna see how we got to this point prepping the butternut squash, go back and watch my reel on how I break it down. It's so much easier and I think a lot safer. I use the microwave and a vegetable peeler and it just softens it enough to where it's nice and easy to work with. But if this isn't your jam, because I know it's a little bit more time, you can always buy the pre-cut butternut squash from the grocery store. I've got no problem with little shortcuts like that. So we're just going to cube this up to nice big chunks. And our soup is gonna start off by roasting the butternut squash. So I have my oven preheating to 400 degrees. I'm gonna cube these up and I'll show you how we season them. All right, so on my baking trays, I have my large cubes of butternut squash. I just gave a drizzle of olive oil and then some salt, pepper, and garlic powder. So these are gonna go in at 400 for about 25 to 30 minutes. You just wanna get a nice little char on them. They don't need to be cooked entirely the way through because we're gonna add them into our soup. And then meantime, we'll do the mise en place for all the other ingredients. I have my big soup pot out. I'm over about medium-high heat. And we are gonna start off by adding in our onions and potatoes. So I have everything over here diced and ready to go. To start the pot, I did 2 tablespoons of butter and 2 tablespoons of olive oil. I just like that combination of flavor. And so I'm gonna turn up my heat a little bit. We're gonna give this about a 4 or 5 minute head start. And then next is gonna go our celery and carrots. And then I also have our little secret ingredient, which is a green apple that's diced up ready to go. I think this adds just a nice hint of sweetness and people will kind of be like, what is that? But you might not guess green apple right off the bat. In about 5 minutes, we're gonna add in our celery and carrot. And you can just do a nice big dice on these veggies because we are going to blend up our soup at the end. And then to this, I'm going to add in our salt, pepper, and garlic powder. And we're gonna cook these guys down until our veggies are tender, and then we're gonna add in our butternut squash and our green apple. Butternut squash is done, so we're gonna toss our apples in. And then I like to use like a fish spatula. This is a great tool in the kitchen because it's a little bit wider or longer and thinner than a traditional spatula, so you kind of get more when you scoop. So highly recommend. You can ask for one for Christmas if you don't have one. So I'm also gonna say if you don't have an immersion blender, that's a really good Christmas gift. They're like around, I think, $40 to $60, but when you make soups, it's so much easier than transferring everything into a blender. Yeah, a nice little caramelization. All right, we're gonna cook this down for a few minutes and then I'm going to add in our stock. Just added the stock and stirred everything together. Make sure you scrape up the bottom so you get all those flavor bits that might have been cooked on. And I'm bringing up the heat to medium high. We're gonna bring this to a boil and I'm gonna pop a lid on it and reduce the heat down to low. And we'll cook this for about 10 or 15 minutes. It's very flexible. And depending on how thick you like your soup, you can always adjust the amount of stock that you add to this. So I'm just gonna grab a lid and I'm gonna get ready with my immersion blender. Here's our soup, nice and smooth in consistency. So I'm gonna go ahead and pour in our cream. I said 3/4 to a cup of cream, depending on how you like it. So if you want to be a little bit on the lighter side, you could omit the cream or just do a little splash of it. Totally up to you. So at this point, just taste for salt and pepper and you're ready to serve. I like topping mine with a little bit of pepitas, those roasted, what are they, sunflower seeds? Really nice little crunch for presentation too. Right, here is our final presentation. I just did a little line of the pepitas and a little fresh cracked pepper on top. And then I just have some slices of baguette that I serve alongside of that because I think it's fun to have something to dip into it. Another personal favorite, some good old Texas toast and soup is definitely my jam.